So let's try one more limit process for the derivative. This is one that trips students up quite a bit, actually. So what do you do when the function you're given is in a rational function form? So the goal is, in most cases, you can apply common denominator, meaning once you apply the limit definition of the derivative of f of x plus delta x, you can usually do cross multiplication or multiply both sides so that you get a common denominator. Let's look more closely. This is definitely a pre-calculus concept and an algebra 2 trig concept, but let's take a minute and review just in case you do get a problem like this. So first step, you'll see here, step 1, we rewrote f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x. So that's all here. Here's your f of x plus delta x. Here's your f of x, right? And then obviously the denominator, there's your delta x. So there's the format. Got it. Okay. Now, the question is, can you find the common denominator? Sure. Since the original function that we're working with now has an x plus delta x over here, we want to multiply the second fraction by that amount. And then we want to do the same thing because of this x minus 1. So I've got x minus 1 over here. I'm going to multiply that to the other side. So essentially what we're going to do, and let's use a color here that'll stand out. Let's use pink. What we're really going to do is multiply both of these sides. So this first fraction is actually going to be multiplied by x minus 1. So we're going to get an x minus 1 here, and then we know in algebra, if we do something, we have to make it cancel itself out so that it's almost like we multiplied by 1. So I've got an x minus 1 and x minus 1 on this fraction. And on the other fraction, I'm going to do an x plus delta x minus 1. So we're going to do an x plus delta x minus 1. X plus delta x minus 1 all over x plus delta x minus 1. All right, so we've messed with these fractions. We've stayed true to the rules of algebra, right? And if we follow our work, you guys will notice, let's follow this work, follow this arrow, and let's see how it's simplified, okay? So it simplifies to this monster right here. This is where we're at. So when we work with this, there's a lot of things we could do, right? Let's bear in mind that even while we had all that work, don't forget everything is supposed to be divided by delta x. So let's throw that part right back in here. Divided by delta x. Delta x. All right, now, last step, let's fix up our algebra. You'll notice there's an x minus 1 minus x. All of this stuff is going to cancel out really nicely, and we have this delta x over here. Right, divided by delta x, which really just means times 1 over delta x, which I have placed mathematically over here. So now this is where we're at. Let's do some algebra. Let's fix this up. X minus x, gone. Negative 1 and 1, gone. My rewrite is negative delta x over delta x, so these guys are clearly going to cancel out. And I'm left with 1 over x minus 1 times x plus delta x minus 1. And now let's make it a limit. So we're finding the limit as delta x goes to 0, which will give me 1 over x minus 1 times x plus 0 minus 1. And when we simplify our work, that's going to be 1 over x minus 1 squared. And yes, if we try our power rule, we will show that that is the same answer, except for, wait for it, this guy right here. So I left this out because students make this mistake all of the time. We have a negative here. We got to account for that guy, and it follows us all the way through. So the real answer is negative 1 over x minus 1 to the second power.